So first of all, welcome everyone in our today's knowledge session, which is about LangSmith prototype to prediction. Today I am Aman Srivastava, will be presenting it from AI/ML competency. So before we begin with the session, let's follow up with the knowledge etiquettes. So these are make sure that we join the session 5 minutes prior, so it would be better for every one of us to not miss it, and make sure that we provide the proper feedback to the Nasher who is giving the session. It helps us in improving our session further in future. And make sure that your phone is on silent mode, so to avoid any disturbance, and to please avoid any kind of chit chat during the session, or to mute your mic to keep the session flow smoothly. So moving forward, let's discuss about our agenda. Okay, so in today's we will be discussing about LangSmith, where a platform that's really changing the way we build and maintain LLM applications. We will start with the basics, like what LangSmith is, why it matters. Then we will dive into its key features, how it fits naturally into our workflows, and benefit it's bring how and what benefit it's bring. Along the way, I will share some common pitfalls to watch out for and best practices for designing and developing and testing, and as well deploying our applications. Now, and then we will finish with the live demo and then open the floor for a Q&A part. So moving forward with the introduction. Okay. So LangSmith is designed to be the glue that holds together the complex processes of building any kind of LLM-based application. At its heart, it's a unified platform that lets us debug and test and evaluate and monitor our AI workflows. The things like that we face the difficulties while creating any kind of solution. On that part, it helps so much that it provides us a platform that helps you in all kind of criteria. What's powerful here is that it's built tightly within the LangChain in mind, but it is not only limited to it. If you are using another LLM framework, you are not just limited to LangChain, you are using some any kind of ML workflow, those are for monitoring. You want to use some third API like Grok we want to utilize, Gemini you want to utilize. So it can also be integrated with those as well. So let's say, why do we need this? Because there's a huge gap between building a prototype that sometimes works by chance and launching a reliable, scalable production system, where LangSmith is that kind of that bridge that fills that gap, helping developers go from ideas to create the rock solid products. So that is the basic introduction about the LangSmith. So before we move deep into this, so I hope everyone has got the idea of what is LangSmith and why we are having this session here. So before that, can anyone please tell me about their project, that what kind of difficulties regarding the test and evaluation part that they might have faced? Either it can be AI based or non-AI. Hello. Sonalia, am I audible?
Yes, Aman, you are audible.
Okay. My system hang up. Okay. So moving forward with the challenges, working with LLMs is very exciting, but it comes with so many headaches. That first is unpredictability. Unlike traditional softwares where a function returns the same output every time, LLMs can surprise us in different answers with the same input. That you might not get every time the exact answer or the same answer. You might get some hallucinated or misleading answer. So that kind of unpredictability issue is there. that is considered as a challenge. This non-deterministic makes troubleshooting a puzzle. And then a traditional debugging tools just aren't built for this kind of AI. Like you cannot just simply apply a tool to monitor or to overcome these kind of issues. So that's requires some kind of human intervention, which makes it little, we can say, are difficult for a user to monitor or to consider every kind of response that either model is making good results or not. So they can't trace probabilistic outputs or handle the sheer scale of that token level operation. Token level operation, the term it refers like whatever we provide as an input to our model, it is converted into a tokens. So model understands those tokens, and in response it provides those tokens as well. Then it is then morphed again as a simple human language. That means that you cannot just simply interpret what's the problem causing here, and without that it is very difficult. You need visibility, you need real-time insights and robust monitoring to keep everything under control. That's where the necessity of something like LangSmith comes in, which ensures that our AI application performs well, remains scalable, and don't break unexpectedly. So these are the challenges that we used to face while building any kind of LLM application. Now moving forward, let's talk about LangSmith overview. So as in LangSmith overview, on the debugging and testing side, it's like having an X-ray vision into your app's brain. You can see the entire workflow your LLM goes through step by step and spot exactly where things go off the track. You can even create a evaluation data sets. Uh, Here, by utilizing the LangSmith evaluation data sets, refer to the whatever the runs or whatever the executions you have made over a period, you can just create a corpus of those runs to evaluate the whole overall output of your model, that how well it has performed over the period, what kind of errors it has faced or it has caused in the response, which basically it acts like a checklist or benchmark to keep your model honest. When it comes to evaluation and monitoring, LangSmith gives us tool to assess how well model is doing in real time also. Whether you are using built-in evaluators or custom ones that are that can be tailored into our business needs. So we get immediate feedback on the output quality. Plus, you can track key performance metrics like making sure app isn't just working but working well. So there might be some issues that are not related to AI. There are some issues that data is causing, are breaking over the flow. So that kind of metric you can also track using the LangSmith. That's how it can be leveraged. So now moving forward, let's talk about the key features. So as we can see, the few points are mentioned here, like tracing, prompt engineering, human feedback, and dashboards. So can anyone please tell me what kind of, if I just go back, what these terms basically refer related to the projects? If we talk about the tracing, I think someone might have idea of what tracing basically in the project is. Okay, I take that as a no. So you are keeping the track of your flow. You are logging it everything, that what kind of flow has been executed, what data has been provided, on what period it has been executed, and what was the real outcome. For that kind of process, we refer it as a term tracing. What we do basically to track all these kinds of things, we put some loggers over there, we put some metrics over there over a period, we add some functionalities, or we can say decorators or wrappers over there to trace our things and to create a whole log metric or dashboards, which takes a more of a time for a developer just to keep the track of those things. That's the thing we refer as tracing. So as in the prompt engineering as well referred to the like giving the instruction to the model that what kind of task it has to perform. As in engineering, it has some different kind of approaches, like you provide with direct instruction, you provide some contextual information, you provide some reasoning to the model that you have to follow step by step before providing the answer. You provide the sample inputs to the model along with the prompt that yeah, this is the input, this is the output, so you have to think accordingly and give response accordingly as well. Now coming to the human feedback part. As in human feedback, of course model is providing answers over a period of so many times, but it is necessary that we make sure that a feedback mechanism is there to collect and incorporate those things that will help to improve the model performance, as well as to monitor that uh, what is the model, how model is behaving actually in the real time. And as these three features has been introduced, and now we want to see it over a particular dashboard. So that is also in there in LangSmith, that provides what cost has been there, what was the latency issues were there, what was the ratio we can say of the responses that it has frequently made or not. So that kind of thing we can utilize or we can create using the LangSmith framework in our projects. So that was about the key features of LangSmith. Now moving forward with the workflow integration. So again, I want to ask anybody if they can tell something about what is the workflow basically means in a project, how it is integrated, what practices are followed. Okay, I'll take that as a no. So workflow is basically the like following the best practices from the very beginning, like from the scratch to deploying your solution over any platform, and what all those steps that are included in that whole process is a workflow that we consider. Obviously we use different kind of platforms or different kind of methods to create a workflow, as the professional term is used over here, like CI/CD orchestration is there. So that is how we can do. As in LangSmith, what we do before creating an AI solution, what we do, we first make the prototype. A prototype is the step where we develop initially before creating a full edge application. Like we create a simple application with some demos, providing some demos to evaluate how this can be solution be made or not. Tracing is there along with the evaluation and refinement part. First, we evaluate that what is the response, either they are fulfilling the requirements or not. Then we refine, I mean, then we apply some refinement. As in refinement, what we do, like we switch to some different kind of data sets, we apply some different kind of prompt engineering, we switch to some different kind of models, we apply some other AIML techniques. If you go through the Google and apply what kind of techniques are there in AIML related to the generative AI, that we can apply to enhance our model performance or to overcome the hallucinations, you will get so many things that you can apply in your projects. And then finally, when you get the idea, yeah, now I am getting the results I wanted always, that I can utilize uh, this in this solution. So now I will move into the deployment part. As in deployment, we move the refined product application into the production along with the confidence. So that's how LangSmith here also help us to keep this whole workflow by tracing it, by applying the integration of evaluation and refinement over there, and along with the deployment part is there. So that's how LangSmith can be used for your project. Now moving forward with the benefits of using LangSmith. So as in benefits, how it helps us, what we get from it, like for starters, our development cycles speed up, less guesswork means faster iteration and fewer drills. As in our application become more reliable and performance because you have the tools to catch issues before they even occur or reach the users in the real time. That might even cause the business loss to the user. That might cause the bad marketing, that the product is not performing well. So they might got the negative impact over the market. It also makes teamwork easier. Developers, data scientists, and the product managers can all took at the same places. Like you just simply have to invite your team members along with the project. You do not have to schedule a meeting every time, or you do not have to generate the bug again and again to showcase that this was the issue that I have been facing. And sometimes, because I believe that everyone has faced an issue that while they were doing some kind of experimentation, that particular issue has occurred, but when the time comes to show to their seniors or the team members, it do not occurs. So on that period, your time is going to waste. So LangSmith help us to just add your team members and do the collaboration or those things, because every execution has a different run, have a different metrics, so you won't be missing anything over there. So, and importantly, LangSmith provides us the scalability where we build some kind of proof of concepts on or running a high demand production system. So that kind of benefits we can get from using the LangSmith in our projects. Now, before that, LangSmith utilization or LangSmith properties or features, what are the common pitfalls that we will discuss. So, as in the common pitfalls, like ignoring traces in early development, overcomplicating change too soon, using static evaluation only, not isolating prompt experiments, underestimating prompt difference. As in brief, like first, don't ignore early tracing. If you wait until late stage development to enable it, debugging becomes almost impossible. So start your tracing from day one. Avoid overcomplicating your chains too soon. Keep your workflow simple initially. Premature optimization just make it harder to premature optimization. It just make it harder to debug and iterate. Don't rely solely only on the static evaluation test. Real world feedback from different kind of user, from different kind of surveys that are organized to evaluate the performance, often reveals the gaps you or the team didn't anticipate. Combine the automated test with the human feedback. Never test prompt changes directly in the production. First, apply some prompting at your level, then analyze, yeah, particular prompt changes has been affecting my results this vaguely. So accordingly act and then do some changes in the production level. But before apply some testing, make sure you are going through that phase as well. And finally, be aware of prompt drift. Models evolve over time, so regularly rerun your evaluation set to catch any performance drops early. What it implicates over here, that these LLMs, large language models, are trained on huge data sets day by day. They are utilizing lots of resources, lots of millions of terabytes or zettabytes of data is introduced to them. So that data is not limited to the past data, or that is upgrading every each second. So when it there can be an issue like you have deployed a solution of a particular use case, either you have applied some kind of techniques to stick to those data, but when user interact with those solution, with those model to get their answers, obviously they are providing the problem statement in the real time they were facing at that current period. So what happens when that model is not aware of that data model? How come it will be able to respond so responsibly and provide a good results to a human or the user, whoever it is using? So make sure we have the flow and we are keeping our models up to date. We are keeping the data up to date. We are making the solution to keep the version in control, that it is not its performance not downgraded over a period. It is fully serving its purpose in the real world. So that kind of pitfalls that we have to consider before making any solution. So moving forward with the best practices of using LangSmith. Again, I want to ask anyone, since we have covered so much about LangSmith already, what kind of best practices we might want to follow in any project, not just limited to AI. I would really like if someone please give a brief answer. Anyone? Okay, I think it's a no. So moving forward with the best practices. First, we will discuss about the design and development best practices. Well, here are the some design and development tips to get the most from the LangSmith. Modularize your chains early on. Break your app into small reusable parts. This makes it easier to trace, test, and maintain as it grows. Use tracing continuously from the start. Capture detailed execution data, paths, timings, errors, so you are never flying blind. Design your observability in mind, like you have to do apply some kind of visualization that what kind of things you have to observe while creating a solution, so that kind of perspective is required over there. Add meaningful tags and metadata throughout your workflow, so you can dig into exactly what's happening and when issue arise and what execution it has caused. And then build your evaluation sets incrementally. Start with a small set of high quality example, then expand over the time to catch new edge cases and prevent regressions. So just to be clear, as in the high quality examples, it means here that data set we or the contextual data that we provide as an input to the model, it makes sure that it is genuine, it is not only assumption based, it is some kind of real data, or even if it is augmented, it is stating the right facts, it is not just assuming things, it is not just providing the answer. Because obviously if we provide some context to the model and that context or that data is not correct, then how come model will be able to identify that the answer of this particular question query should be this? Because obviously we have restricted the model to use the context as its knowledge base to provide the answer. So we have to make sure that whatever data we are using, it's accurate to the real time, and it is not only assumption based, it is stating the right facts. Moving forward, best practices in testing and feedback and deployment. As in testing and feedback should be part of your daily workflow, not an afterthought. Automate prompt testing as much as possible. Use playgrounds, test suits to simulate edge cases before pushing changes live. Collect human feedback continuously. It's often the best way to spot subtle issues and improve your model's output. Well, LangSmith make this kind of thing easy with the API and UITs. Like you just simply have to call the LangSmith API, the platform or the UI we can say LangSmith provide. You can simply interact with it. It is not any kind of rocket science that you have to do some kind of hardcore digging over there. You have to apply some kind of workflows over there to integrate your LangSmith. That we will discuss in the demo, that how easy it is to integrate the LangSmith in a project. And then monitor, moving with the best practices as in the monitoring part, monitor your app closely in the production, track the latency, that whatever the response we are getting, either it is received in the standard time or not. Because obviously when we compare those things, like a traditional solution that is not do not include any kind of LLM calls or AI generation part, that is for that falls under the standard latency time that has been there. But when it comes to AI, obviously models are taking some time to analyze your data, analyze your query, because there are lots of token or lots of input you have provided. So it takes time. So there might be an issue that you might not get the response as following with the standard practices, but definitely you will get some response. But still you have to keep in check that it is not also taking more than expected, like it keeps on running and running, it stuck in some kind of loop, or it has hallucinated way too much that it forgets what it has to respond. Because obviously what happens in the technical aspects in the LLMs, that when you deploy a model or when you leverage any kind of LLM, every LLM has its defined token length. Like it can handles like 30,000 tokens, it can handle 1 million tokens. So if there kind of any kind of situation occur, like you have provided more than, suppose for an example, the model limit was 10,000 tokens and you have provided a input of 15,000 tokens, one by one or in a one flow. So what happens, it can uh, just simply take those into the consideration that falls into its limitation. The other details, other input, it might forget or it might miss. So on that part you have to make sure either you are creating a solution applying the streaming techniques, or you are making some check that you are not missing out any tokens or model is showing some kind of errors related to the tokens. So that kind of consideration should also be there while making a LLM solution. Okay, so and then iterate safely, as when we need to make any change, do it safely, use experiments and branches to try out new prompts version without risking our life, as we have done in the git. Like maintain those practices like version control, and never edit production prompts directly without the validation. So that was for the LangSmith, that how LangSmith is useful in the projects. What are the challenges before the LangSmith that we used to face? What are the benefits? What were the common pitfalls that we have to consider before any kind of solution? And the best practices as we have discussed already. So moving forward, I will continue with my demo. So as in demo, let's just simply first search LangSmith. Okay, so here we are on the LangSmith page now. Now, if we move forward with the integration part, like I want to first, for now, it is provided two option, like either you want to integrate into the Python or the JavaScript. So I will go over the Python now. So as you can see, the points that we have discussed, like the tracing is there, evaluation is there, prompt engineering is there, deployment is there. Uh, just a keynote that for the deployment part, it uses the LangGraph platform for for deploying your solution. So now moving forward, I think someone is trying to say something.
Yeah, Aman, I'm not able to see your that screen.
Okay, 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 okay.
It's
Sorry.
still showing the your PPT.
Okay, I'm at my bad. Let me share my screen again. I hope my screen is visible to you.
Yes, now it is visible.
Okay. So as in LangSmith, we just simply follow with the docs. If you want to go with the products and resources, you can go. As we can see, we have the two options, like Python integration is there or the JavaScript. I will go for the Python since I have already opened this. Now we can see the points we have discussed, like observability is there, evaluation is there, prompt engineering is there. As in the deployment, it uses the LangGraph platform to deploy the models or the solution that we want to use. So if you want to do the integration, you can just simply go through the docs. It is not very difficult. If I just simply jump to the solution, like say I want to go to my app. As you can see, I can set up my tracing. I can run an evaluation on my data set, as in data set that metric or the runs have been executed. I can try out the playground to try out one different kind of prompts. So for this demo, let's first follow with the tracing part. I think that will be for now. We can obviously integrate everything, but it will be taking much of a time. So I'm just giving a thorough idea to you. So when we set up tracing, if we click on setup tracing, as you can see, we have the option either we want to go with the LangChain or without the LangChain. So you can see there isn't anything that I have to do. As for the example, if I have the open API key, I can simply uh, get those things in my projects and create my solution. And it is not only limited to OpenAI. If you have some any other solution, either it is a Hugging Face or some different models that you are using some different kind of APIs, so you can also integrate your LangChain. It will be requiring the putting the decorator of LangSmith, LangChain LangSmith, to trace your project instead of just simply putting those in environment variables. So without LangChain is there. So now moving forward, let's say I want to generate my API key. So you will be getting your API key simply, and project is there. If you have open API key, you can simply use it. So for the demo, I have already prepared it. Let's say I will go through my environment variables. I have defined my model over here. I have defined the LangSmith endpoint, LangSmith API key, LangSmith project. As you can see, I have already created those. So what I am doing here, the first I will walk you through the project. Well, in this project, our main goal is to identify that I was working on, that I want to analyze my performance testing logs. So it my models might give me a suggestion based on the performance testing, the stats that I have provided to it, that what changes that I can apply, what kind of techniques that I can apply over the infra or the testing part to improve my performance testing or to improve my solution, that it is not causing any issue in real time. So that is the whole solution that I have created. So it was all Python part, model analysis part is there. Like you can say report parser is there. I'm simply passing my report like JMeter logs, stats file is there. I'm reading my logs. I have some prompt defined over here. As if I walk you through the prompt, let's go over it. As you can see, I have properly instructed my model that how you have to act. You have to act as an AI agent specialized in performance testing analysis, and all the reasoning part, all the contextual data I have been updating here dynamically. All things have been curated into this prompt. So whenever you create a solution, make sure you follow these kind of similar approaches to get a better results from your model. And as I have said, the contextual information along with the responses how model has to make, I have provided the response format for this, that you have to use this kind of response format to provide me the answer. Okay, so let's simply just run my project locally. Now what I have done to trace everything or trace functions, I have just simply used the LangSmith to import the traceable. When traceable is imported, I have just simply use it as a decorator. There's nothing I have to do apart from this. I have just imported the traceable here. If I go through the report parser, as you can see, I have applied the traceable over here, generate analysis prompt, traceable over the Gemini analysis. I have just simply put up my decorator over here, and there is nothing I have to do over here. My environment variables of LangSmith are there, my traceable is there, that's all. Now, if I hit my API, like you can see, I provide my stats of performance testing. I have provided the logs of those performance testing. There is some kind of configuration that I have passed to this model, that is the contextual information, that what kind of infra I have used, what kind of testing I have applied, how many users were there, and the test feature, like I want to test a feature, that's also contextual information, that I want to analyze login plus view order history feature. So if I just for before hit it, okay, here's the language point. Yeah, here it is. So before I hit it, just say there are few metrics that I have already logged. As you can see in this, there was some error that is already traced. Get analysis was causing some runtime error, type error. Submit test configuration was causing some bad methods error, like 140 is there. And there was a proper solution, a proper response from the model, but it has the latency issue which it has highlighted. It was on 1258. So if I rerun it again, now everything is being analyzed uh, over my solution using the Gemini model. Let's wait for a few seconds until it provides model. Obviously, it taking a little bit time to analyze the stats and the logs. So as you can see, it has provided me the response. As you can purely compare that the response format I have provided in my code, it is following that kind of approach. So that's how that's the part I want to evaluate model is following the instruction or not. But that's also a time taking when it comes to a large scale solution. So when it comes to LangSmith, you can see a new run has been executed. We can compare it with that time. 4.6 is there, and if we click on it, we can see the metrics over it. The response model has provided me. It is the same response as you can see components, application servers. So as you can see, it is properly visualizing it over this LangSmith dashboard. And if I can see, if I want to see what function it is utilized, so as we can see that decorator I put upon generate analysis prompt right there. So you can also get the trace of what prompt you have been utilizing in your particular execution. You can see the whole prompt along with the data is there. You can see the Gemini analysis function, what it has provided as a response. So when you provide a bigger perspective over here, like you are running tens and thousands of run, I think that's too much. If you're running 50 runs a daily and you want to keep the logs, keep the report of everything that on each run, what response I have got, what errors it has caused. So if I go through the error part, you can see as in the get analysis, I got some earlier error which I have created to demonstrate error reading context file. Obviously, I have misplaced the file by intentionally to showcase that how it will be also tracing the errors over there. So that's how LangSmith can be used to trace your projects, as in the uh, things like all runs are there. You can filter it over using the logs. You can filter it over the entities. You can filter it using the output key values. You can see either I want to filter it over the error, success, cancelled. These all kind of features LangSmith provides you to monitor your traces of the runs you have executed. As if we talk about the monitoring part, if I go with the dashboard, let's first go with the monitoring. Then okay, let's go with the dashboard. So you will be seeing a sample example of that how your application has been performing, when it caused error, when it caused success. You can see over the charts, trace your latency, trace your error rates, LLM calls are there, LLM latencies are there, cost per trace. These features has been introduced in my project right now. So if you go through the more documentation of the LangSmith, you will be able to keep everything in integrated with the project and get the whole metric over here. So yep, that was all for the demo part. I hope LangSmith is a great tool to keep everything intact within your project. Yep. So that was all from my side talking about the LangSmith. I hope everyone has got the better idea how LangSmith can be utilized. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah. Okay, then I think everyone has got clear understanding what LangSmith is. Okay, then I think we can wrap up this call, Sonali, right?
Yes, sure, Aman. Well, one last time, if anybody has any questions, please do let us know. I will take that as a no. Fair enough. We would have you all would can have the flexibility to reach out to Aman if you have any questions. Until then, let's wrap up to today's session. Happy weekend. Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you, everyone.